and they
Where's
continue
the
to.
sun off them dogs? That's what you got to ask yourself. When they got a good dog, shouldn't they have a sun coming up off that dog?
And
Shouldn't a good dog outproduce itself? If you have a solid dog, shouldn't you be able to breed it in within, let's say, 5 breedings at the most? I mean, that's a lot. I'm not even gonna say that. Within 2 breedings, you know if that stud is worth its weight in salt. So, I mean, if you're not trying to make a better son or a better mother, I don't know what you're doing. I mean, you're just pushing puppies to me. You're not, there's no real thought process in it.
no, you're not building the program. You're building an idea. So, and at the end of the day, if you're trying to fulfill a pet market and you're doing it honestly, and the dogs are healthy and happy, I'm okay with it. But the where I have start to have a problem is if the dogs aren't healthy and you're uh selling a pyramid scheme, or like, Amway, or you know what I mean, like
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Um, that's a totally different, and that's kind of the bully way. That's
Mm.
kind of the American bully way. Is a scam. You know. Yeah, that's kind of the American bully way, and that's why I leaned so hard into toward Bulldog and leaned away from that whole culture. Um, I try to keep it about the dogs and just post dogs and productions and show that when you build blood, eventually you will get a good clientele. You will get the money you think is fair for your dogs, and you'll make it. It just takes a lot. It takes a lot of endurance. It takes a lot of persistence and consistency. And I remember when I started the St. John's, everyone had such a problem with me mixing, but
Hmm.
they didn't understand that their own breed was in danger at the time. And people were making fluffies, people were making hairless, people were
Hmm.
making this, people were making that. And whether they think it or not, that does damage their breed's reputation.
What doesn't leave it to be pure?
Because you can't tell me that a fluffy don't have no Pekingese in it. And I don't care for the love of God. I could care less. If you want a fluffy Frenchie, by all means, have a fluffy Frenchie.
But no, it's not a
But
Frenchie.
no, it's not a pure Frenchie. It's
Mm.
not. It's you can you
You
can
want to talk about breed type?
yeah. There you go. You want to talk about breed type? There you go. It's coat, which is an element of breed type. Coat is an element, one of the 5 elements. Um, the coat isn't correct. So technically, if we want to be technical, all those fluffies technically should not have French Bulldog paperwork.
Oh, by far. No, by far. And what it ended up happening was, with this, somebody got a hold of some old school photos and some writings about hair. Uh, they didn't, hairy
I've seen it. I've seen
French.
those black and white photos.
And what in, okay, yes, there were hairy French bulldogs around back in the day, but where did they come from? Probably the same sources that they came from today, right? So, um, the reality is, the the mammoth bulldog, the oldie English bulldog that came with the hair, was a recessive gene. Why was it a recessive gene? Was because the oldie and the American bulldog, in a lot of ways, many different strains, were a composite breed. What did they
Hmm.
use in that dog? They used things like Saint Bernard. What does Saint Bernard have? They have long hair, and um, so some of these oldies threw hair. It was a recessive gene. They found out it was a recessive gene, and what do these old school breeders did? They culled those dogs. They hard culled them.
Yes. Yep.
And then a couple of them kept them around because they didn't have the heart to cull them, so they just kept them around and hid them. One or two breeders found out about them, and said, "Hey, wait a minute, I'm interested." Um, some of them happened to be in Europe. A couple people over here in the United States said, "We can double down on this and market them." They found out a lot of these dogs were, some of them were working style dogs that had kind of the old school oldie blood in them, that was desirable. You know what I mean? So they just had hair. That was the only difference. And so they doubled down on it and they made it a thing. Where the Frenchie world took it was, okay, these dogs have a recessive gene. No, they didn't. You put Pekingese in them or Japanese chin. You know what I mean? You didn't. You just faked the funk, is what you did.
Yeah, it's
You
different,
you
two different
can't
games right there.
you can't produce that many dogs that quick with the recessive gene, no matter what. I mean, you just can't. It's bullcrap, and you're right. It Okay. I'm all for the fluffy Frenchie. I'm all for it, but it can't be considered a French bulldog. It should be considered its own entity, its own
And they
style.
should be able to show the evolution.
Yes.
Like you go on my Instagram or Facebook, I mean, if you scroll back far enough, you'll see F1s that look like bullies. Um, you'll see F1Bs that look very bulldogish, and I can tell you why it's that way. But these breeders, they don't want to tell everybody why it's that way. And I know why they're doing that, but I feel if someone's going to spend a couple grand or a little bit of money on a dog, whether breeding or not, they should know what's in their fucking dog, man. That's, I mean, that's not that crazy.
No, no, right. You should. What you're doing is what you guys are doing is absolutely what see any style of dog in its beginning should be doing. You're open about it. You're transparent about how the program is being built, and you're showing the evolution of the dog, and you're actually proving what you're doing every step of the way, and that is so rare in today's world.
Thank you. And I mean, we have a lot going for us. I mean, we got more than one registry that papers us. We have now we actually got on a pedigree database on the internet where they label them as St. John's Bulldogs. So you'll be able to follow the truth. And I got, like I said earlier, I picked up an oldie female and I have an English female coming. So I'll have pretty much every type of bulldog except for French bulldogs or shorty bulls on yard here soon. Um, our 2 times LO stuff, the Pacific Bulldogs, that boy is turning out to be spectacular, and so we're going to definitely be pushing him too. The St. John's isn't going away or anything. It's just we need to also push some other. We need to build some other blood to bring in. I have some breedings that I'm doing that are straight St. John's to St. John's, and they're going to be very nice. But you got to take your time when building something, you know? You don't want to rush this. We kind of got to a place where we want to explore where we're at. Yeah, like I was saying earlier, with each generation, do you want to stay in that generation for a long time or do you want to move on? And with these 7 generations and even when we get to 8, I think I'm going to kind of hover around there for a little bit and see, really kind of explore the blood and show what we can produce and test the blood, because without line breeding and inbreeding all different directions, you haven't tested your blood. That's the true test. The outcross definitely is a test because it's going to show you who you're pulling more from. But you know, with the St. John's, it, I'm very happy where we're at with as far as the percentages of what type of dog are in there and where we're going. I think that in time you'll see a small group of people breeding them with me. I have people who've been talking to me for a long time about getting one and wanting to do this or that. And I approve every dog that gets bred into it. So some people don't like that. Some people get real intimidated when you tell them, yeah, you're gonna buy the dog, but for me to paper it as a St. John's, I got to approve the breeding. And some people really, I think that puts a bad taste in their mouth. But I don't really give a, and I have to be that rigid to ever get to type. I have to be rigid to get to type. So, and until people can understand that, it'll just stay small, and I'm totally fine with that being a niche. I like what the dogs are looking like. I like what we're getting. It's just now it's time to really expand and you know cross these different strains together, because we've made all these different strains, so it's time to cross them all together and see how whose blood is going to be the pivotal cornerstones, and whose blood is maybe going to get left behind. Um, because you not everything's going to stick like you think it will, you know. Um, but some traits do stick around, and I think we've put enough bulldog in it to where we're putting St. John's to St. John's, and we're still getting real bulldoggy type. Um, I think that it's headed in the right direction.
What year did you guys do your first F1?
2017 or 16, I think. Yeah, 2017.
Yeah, so this is really, I mean, when you're talking a new breed or new style of dog, this is you're still as long as in hard of a road as it probably has been. If you really sit back and think about it, it's still
Got a lot to go. You got a lot of ways to go.
in its infancy. Yeah, yeah.
I,
So
I
what you're
mean,
what you're doing now is you're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Basically, you're still moving forward and still growing and still making those decisions that you feel that need to be made, which that's cool that it's you're not you guys aren't so pressure filled, like you feel like you need to make the decisions now, and not and everything has to hit 100% now. You're able to withstand the ups and downs.
it's the ups and downs suck. I'm not gonna lie to you, because the downs are like losing a dog.
Yeah. Hmm.
Even when the dog's old and it's time for that dog to go, it still sucks, man. It's no fun. And but it's cool to see the journey. Like, even temperament has changed so much since we were in bullies. Um, like, bullies used to be Thunderdome. Fucking, they would beat the shit out of each other as puppies. Now, these pups, they won't beat. It's a
Yeah.
sleep. Yeah, it's a sleep pile. They just chilling. Like, I got a dog at a buddy's house named Tough, and the dog just sits in the front yard, and he looks scary. He looks like he'd bite you, but he's a big old friendly guy. It's
That's
just,
awesome. Can you talk about your just to give people that don't know, just an overview of what the standard is right now, like the height, the weight, and the structure, what you have written down?
I mean, yeah, I can. So for as far as weight, I don't put like an exact weight on it, because it should be proportionate with the height, and I like to give myself some room. So when we wrote the standard, um, you know, I wanted to give myself some room, because and I put this as a standard in progress, If I want to change something, I'll change it. I don't care what anybody's got to say about that. They can kiss my ass. Uh, but no. So for me, a really good St. John's that's not no F1, because the F1s are obviously going to be bigger dogs. You know, they're not going to be the size of pudding. Pudding's probably 14 inches. And how much you think pudding weighs? 40, 45 pounds. You know, I could put a little bit more weight on that. If she was 50 pounds, I would like that. But um, Uguay, another good example. About 15 inches, 50 pounds. Um, he might be 55. Yeah, he might. Around that height and weight for St. John's. So really, the size of a Pacific Bulldog or a pocket bully to me.
Yeah, like a proper pocket bully.
Yeah, a real like the what it's supposed to be, not
Yeah,
what everybody says is a pocket bully, but a proper, 16 inches and a good
yeah,
60 pounds, on a male. Maybe I would say our males get a little bit bigger. Sometimes we have males that are upwards of more like 70 pounds,
yeah,
75. Um, but slowly we're kind of honing in on that height and weight. Of course, you're in this, like you said, even though we've had a long journey already, it's still the infancy because we're still doing foundational breedings. I mean, if you're still doing foundational work, it's not done, right?
yeah, most definitely.
I mean, and every now and then, even if you get to F3 or you're at F4, you might have to go back to the well, and you might start to get dogs that lead away from the bulldog type. They might start to lean away, and you need to go back to the well and get English bulldog and run it in there.
Mm.
And that might be a generation where you just run English bulldog to it and move on.
Yeah, I definitely like what you got going with your size because the times that I've had a chance to get an oldie, what's held me back was the size, and so I
Some
definitely
oldies ain't big. I mean, like
no,
people see the Pacific Bulldogs and they're short. They're only like Boss is what? Like how heavy is Boss?
Boss is still, I would say
55.
55.
He's
Yeah.
55 pounds and 15 inches
mm,
tall. Um,
He's an athlete.
but he's an
mm,
athletic dog. His son Shifu, super similar, probably gonna end up being a little heavier, but that's because his mom. He took after his mama,
mm,
Lola. Um, but yeah, with the oldies, you got a lot of dogs that are huge, and
yeah,
for me, anyways,
yeah, me too.
and I can appreciate all sorts of
Hmm.
types of dogs and
Yep,
not want to own them.
exactly. Yeah,
Like I love Akitas. Akitas
exactly.
are some cool looking dogs, but
Hmm.
you will never see me own a fucking Akita.
Yeah, yeah. I've got a bigger Akita in my backyard right now. He's not an Akita; he's a Turkish Shepherd, but um, it's been a great experience learning something besides a bull breed, genetics wise and personality wise. It's given me
Isn't
a
it crazy when you go
yeah,
into other
yeah,
breeds how different they breed them?
yeah,
Um, like just something I've noticed when I've talked to people
yeah,
that
yeah,
don't have anything to do with the bull breed world
yeah,
is the way they breed is a little bit different.
yeah, for sure. And it just their genetics, it's insane. Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I'm still definitely very partial to the bull breeds, but it's been a great experience, and he's a great guard dog. But what do you guys ever foresee yourself running pure Pacifics and pure Englishes just to help supply uh, for the St. John's, or do you just
Yes,
yes?
yes, yeah. That's why we definitely. That's why we made the Shifu piggy litter or the
Uh-huh.
Lola Boss litter. To use, I don't. If someone wants to use Shifu, that's cool. And I used to be like, against. If people want to put it to a bully, I don't care anymore.
Hmm.
People have bought dogs from me, and I know what they're gonna do with them.
Hmm.
Um, it's not my fucking business. As long as the dog's taken care of, I really don't give a fuck. Um, because people are gonna have visions and they might see a dog like one of my dogs and they might say, I want to use that in this part of my vision. And, hey, go for it, man. And pay the stud fee. It is what it is. You can't stop because if you try to gatekeep it too hard, they'll figure out how to get your blood. They'll just send like their girlfriend to call for a puppy or something, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
and
no.
they'll get your blood. You can't stop that. But yes, we're trying to branch out a little bit and do some more Pacific Bulldog breedings with the true Pacific Bulldog blood. You see a lot of Pacific Bulldogs that are not uh
100%.
they yeah, they ain't 100% Pacific Bulldog, and they don't have um the look that the
Mm.
type that a true Pacific Bulldog should have. So we'll definitely be having that. And we'll definitely be having pure English Bulldogs um, done my way. Um, but they will be very, very, very nice English Bulldogs. I'll even show you the girl when I get off this.
Mhm.
Um, and that oldie I just bought that's super English, but she's a little spitfire. Shout out to my dude over there at Self Made. Um, yeah, we're gonna have some nice. I don't know if I'll probably take that oldie girl and breed her more to Pacifics and breed her more to English
Mhm.
and see what I get out of that.
Mhm.
Um, Over breeding her to like the traditional oldie,
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
that you see. Because and that's why we did four breeds, is because a lot of people say, oh, the Pacific Bulldog is just an oldie. But the same people who say that use the ABKC, and the ABKC literally has them as two different breed standards.
Mm.
So it's really kind of contradicting, but that's why I have four breeds is Pocket American Bully, English Bulldog, Oldie, and Pacific. So if someone wants to be a real prick and say Oldie and Pacific are the same thing, okay, cool. I still got three breeds, or you got to have three or more to make a breed. Um, and really, to be honest with you, it who knows if I'll ever make it to the point where you can say, okay, you have a population of this amount, and um, it's a full on breed. There's no fairy tale person gonna come tell me you made a breed. Uh, you know, I think um getting stuck on that would be stupid. Um, and just really try to make good bulldogs, whether they be St. John's or oldies or Pacifics or English, whatever they are, try to make good bulldogs that are high quality that the public wants.
Yeah, for sure, and you're building your own style, whatever it may be, your own oldie style, your own English style, and then when they say, St. John's Bulldog, they say, "Oh, okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about now." It's
Yeah,
its
and
own.
and of course I'm using dogs in the English or the oldie, and
Mhm,
I'm using dogs that are related to stuff that I might already have. There or some are outcrosses, but I'm using dogs where if I take them, like let's say I take an EB and I take it to another EB, well, I could take it to an EB that I've already used. So if I take puppies out of that and run them to a St. John's, I'm already line breeding from the jump,
Mhm.
instead of kind of searching for a line breed. You're
Right.
already you're already three times this dog or four times this dog.
Right.
Um, and I think that's like I said, that's where you test your blood is seeing what really holds up over time.
Mhm. What's been some advice that's helped you, if you could talk about it without, being getting too personal, that Jamie's helped you with this because it is such a unique position that you're in, and that she's probably one of the few that's the only one recently that's been doing it.
Um, Jamie is. I got two go tos. I
Mm,
got Jamie, sweet, and she's helped me tremendously. She said some different things to me that really stuck, like like this is gonna sound crazy, but 200 dogs or 200 years. Which one you
yeah.
want it to be?
Yeah, right.
And that stuck with me. While I don't have 200 dogs, to all the listeners, um, uh,
Thank God.
thank
Oh
God.
my God.
But you got to have numbers, and
Mhm.
you got to take risks. You're not gonna get to a new type of dog by not taking risks.
Mhm.
You're not going to get there. And you're not going to get there by not breeding. You got to get out here and breed. It's like painting a painting. You got to put paint on the canvas, right?
Mhm.
And if you're just putting paint on the canvas once a year, it's going to take you a hell of a long time to finish that painting.
Mhm.
Whereas if you're putting paint on the canvas two times every 3 months, then boom, all of a sudden you're making headway.
Mhm.
Jamie has helped me too in understanding like the reasoning behind mixing and like um really Jamie's helped me understand breed type a lot. And
Mm.
because I think breed type is misunderstood in the bully community, because to them they think breed type is mass, and um you've never seen a collie that has mass that you would say has breed type, right?
No.
So that the way they use that word um isn't really
Always correct.
correct or conducive with the correct way to use it.
Mhm.
um it's kind of also with genotype matching. I see people say, I'm genotype matching. No, you're not. You don't even know what genotype is. You're
Yeah.
phenotype matching. You're
Mm.
phenotype matching, which is perfectly fine. And I understand it 110%, but it's not genotype matching. It's
Mhm.
not the same thing. And, you get these people who we've talked about this, they think that they know so much about dogs, but they've barely done any work. Where
Mm.
is your breeding resume? And that's why you don't see me argue with people, because the people who want to argue half the time, they, like we said, they got one dog, two dogs, they promote one as a stud and they promote their bitch once a year.
Mhm.
That's two different worlds than what I live in.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot to be learned from what you're doing. Not just, you don't have to like what
You don't
this,
gotta like my dogs.
but I think what is missing in a lot of the bull breed world is looking outside their breeds and seeing how other breeders do it. And,
Go look at
um,
breeding patterns that
yeah.
people have made for
Mm.
other breeds. Go look at
Mhm.
how people have built lines for a
Mhm.
Corso. It's
Yeah.
got nothing to do with me, but go look at it, and you might get an idea from it. You might say,
Yeah.
man, Every,
understanding of something from it.
Mhm.
yeah, you have a better understanding, and the more data you can have
Mhm.
in breeding, the better you are, right?
Yeah.
So learning from all these other breeds is just, it's data in your data bank. It's
Mhm.
you being able to say, hey, this makes sense to line breed here and outcross here because of, I saw it in this breed and I saw it in this breed. I mean, there's
Yeah.
there's a lot of other breeds that mixed to make their breeds. They had to, I mean, look at the doggo. There's like what, 11 breeds in that or something.
Mhm.
I mean, just go look at. I find it interesting to look at all the different, because if you go look in the Amstaff world, it's not the same as the Corso world and how they breed their dogs.
No.
It's way different, and they're but at the end of the day, it's about getting a good dog. And I don't know. I find it interesting to look at, breeding patterns and things like that. And it might not work out your first litter, you know.
Exactly.
Um,
Passion for it.
you asked me what Jamie said to me that, stuck. It's not what you've accomplished; it's what you've been through that should have broke you.
Right.
But you stuck around and you gritted your teeth and you grinded through it. And I think that is a big difference between us and a lot of people. We haven't, we've been here long enough to where I have what, 7 urns over there
Mm.
and 6 graves on the side of my yard. You know, um, I've had tragedy and loss. So losing a dog for me sucks, but it's not gonna break me. It's not gonna fold me. I'm gonna continue on, um, until this isn't fun. I'm gonna keep going. It needs to stay fun and enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. And that's the way I look at my podcast and what I'm doing, and it there's ups and downs and there's negatives to it. And there's days that I'm frustrated and days that I don't want to part.
Another Jamie Sweet quote: "If you don't want to quit at least once every couple weeks, you ain't doing it like me."
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. And then you just it that feeling goes away and you come back. I mean, you just that drive. So, exactly. No, right.
But yes, Jamie Sweets helped me a lot. Got to shout out John Zammit. Um, very big breeder. He's helped me a lot. They're my go-tos when it comes to anything that I am unfamiliar with, or, um like, let's say I got a puppy that's flat for some reason, right? Just a
Mhm.
flat puppy.
Figure out
And I
normal
can't
stuff's not
figure
working.
normal stuff isn't working. I'm calling one of them.
Mhm.
I'm
And that's one of the most valuable things you could have is get yourself a mentor. Get yourself
Mhm.
somebody who's spent time over 10 years in this, not
Mhm.
somebody who just started 5 years ago. Like really a mentor.
Because if you don't get a mentor, you're gonna
There's
find
bumps along
yourself.
the road.
Yeah, there's bumps along the road. You need someone to kind of push you through them.
Mhm.
You need somebody around like that. And
Help pick yourself up when shit gets hard.
yeah, exactly. Because this is a hard road breeding dogs. I don't care what you breed.
It's not all handing out puppies.
Yeah, it's not all handing out puppies, and it's not all smiles. So, um, you know, I think a mentor really helps. I think having a couple people, um, that are, your peers in a sense, helps.
Supportive, yeah.
But I think, like you said, information overload. I think if you get too many mentors, and this is very, very true to what I believe, um, you will be paralyzed with
Yeah.
fear
Mhm.
because you'll hear the horror stories of 20 different people or whatever, how many ever mentors you get. And you'll say, man, I don't want to do this. And you'll get stuck. And I've seen it happen to people. Um, I've seen people that are would be great breeders not go as far as they could because a dog died or there's so many aspects to this that that are the reasons you keep going that that are hard to do some days because not every day do you want to go scrub kennels. I mean, do you want to every day wake up and scoop shit?
Mhm.
I mean, we chose that. I'm fine with that. But I also really love just getting out there with my dogs. I see a lot of people with dogs these days and I don't even think they play with their dogs. I don't even think their dogs like them cuz half the time you'll see their damn dogs looking scared on the live
Mm.
and you're like, "Why is that dog so scared of you? That's supposed to be your dog." Like I don't have even the dogs. How I have a big kennel that I talked about on the first podcast, which I think infrastructure, having a facility is key if you want to do this of any capacity. But even all those dogs, they all are happy. You go out there, you get one out, you get two out, you throwing the ball for them. They're enjoying. They're not running from you. Because we enjoy this.
Yeah, and the dogs can pick up on your on your feelings towards them, you know.
Yeah, if you're just in this for money, I think personally, this is gonna sound crazy. I think Mother Nature is gonna do you dirty eventually.
I agree.
I don't know how long it'll take, but eventually Mother Nature's gonna wham smack you in the fucking head. Probably in threes too. It's gonna happen 3 times in a row.
Yeah, I think we've seen some recently, you know, um, what
It happened to
happened.
me recently. 3 times in a row, I had something bad
Mm,
happen.
Just feels
yeah.
like you're getting kicked while you're down, but
I lost a dog.
Well,
I I lost a puppy
yeah.
and I lost a litter
Yeah.
of a bitch I put 3 years into
Wow. Yeah.
in a month.
within a month, and I still had to get breedings done
And take care
during
of
that time
everybody
and take care of
and
everybody
ourselves.
and take care of ourselves. I mean, you get stuck on these dogs, and sometimes you might not take care of yourself,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I think it's all balance. You got to balance this shit out. You can't go so hard that you just
Burnout.
burn out in 2 years.
Yeah. Speaking of that, and this is something that, you know, I still am trying to rectify and I'm brainstorming myself because right now I just grin and bear it and pay the money. But what is it? I mean, how do you take a little vacation?
Whew, we don't get to take vacations. That's how.
Yeah.
We took what, 2 days?
We took a couple days off. I don't know what was it
October.
in
It was
October is around Halloween. Um,
We just picked
I'm lucky to have some family.
Yes.
Mhm.
I'm lucky to have some family that can help me. But even with that,
I wrote about 10 pages of instructions.
yeah, there's a lot going on when you have this many dogs, and
Yeah.
especially because, like I've said before, not all our dogs get along. So
Mhm.
you can't just go out there and let everybody loose and spray the kennels.
Because they could be next to each other in the kennel and be fine, but if they came out together, they would
They're
not
gonna
be fine.
they're gonna try and punk each other.
Oh yeah.
Um, and while some of that is necessary for your dogs to have interactions like that in a way, you don't want
Also
to
very stressful.
you don't want to put two dogs together that in the past have been aggressive towards each other That's just waiting for a disaster to happen.
Yeah, use your
Mm.
common sense.
Yeah, we got two of those right now.
It's hard.
Mhm.
Yeah, I got some old ones like that. I got
Yeah,
some,
as they get older, sometimes
and
they get more stubborn.
like I was
Mm.
saying earlier, right now we're going through a shift where we're losing the last couple bullies we have, and we're
Mhm.
implementing putting more bulldogs on the yard and putting more St. John's keepers on the yard, and just keep on um, twisting the genetics how we see fit.
Yeah. Uh, well, I'd like to be able to maybe do a part 3 too, just so we
Oh,
could. Yeah, yeah. Where do you envision this? Let's say I don't want to go so far out, but um, in another 5 years, because we did the podcast like 4 or 5 years ago. So say another 5 years. Where at this point, because it'd be kind of cool to meet up again in do another one in 5 years.
yeah, it won't take me 5 years again this time.
Yeah,
I had to grow some of them up and really know
yeah,
what was going on
yeah,
See the
yeah,
to
direction.
to see the
Yeah.
direction and
yeah.
understand everything. But in 5 years, hopefully the expression is down pat to the point where every litter, all of them have that same expression,
Yeah, it's
a
consistent.
consistent expression. Um, and hopefully they are bulldogs without they have the bulldog traits
Mhm.
like El Chaco has, a real bulldog face, but he doesn't have the bulldog problems, um that would be great if at 5 years we were at that.
And
That
to
would,
be recognized for that.
yeah, and I mean,
Yeah.
it, to to be recognized by,
That's right. Yeah.
you know some people, but I'm not worried about what registries besides who we work with now are going to paper us. I don't care about all that stuff. I don't see this ever being a show dog. And I could be totally wrong. I've told Jamie that and she says that I'm wrong. Um, that it could end up at shows. Um,
I think our
but
biggest focus is just making happy, healthy bulldogs that
yeah,
are
and get,
functional dogs. They're not
yeah,
having to
and
be picked up to take outside every
let's
time.
see, in
Mm.
5 years, how many generations that would be? I mean, yeah, so by then I would hope that a lot of the stuff is locked in from line breeding and inbreeding, and I would hope that we were getting closer to a very consistent look. Um I would also hope that we have some nice English Bulldog stuff happen along the way with that. Some nice Pacific Bulldog stuff happen along the way with that. And I guess you say some nice oldie stuff because that girl I got is an oldie um, along the way. But I don't see us veering away from Bulldogs.
Mm.
You know, I like Bulldogs. And so that's what
Yeah.
I'm going to stay around. And I used to love bullies. Don't get me wrong.
Mhm.
Bullies are great dogs, um, especially when bred correctly. They can. One of my favorite dogs I've ever had was a bully named
Mhm.
Diesel. He's in the pedigrees, way in the way in the back. Um, but
As our puppies got more chunky and we really fell in love with that thicker look.
Mhm. Mhm.
yeah, and also personally feel that the the customer base doesn't want bullies as much as they used to. Um, they like bulldogs. They want bulldogs
They want
without bulldogs.
wrinkles.
They want some wrinkles, but they don't want so much wrinkles that it can't see and gets atropia
Mhm.
To
or
wipe it every
or
day.
have to wipe its butt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they don't want all those problems, but they want a bulldog. And so that's what I'm going to focus on trying to continue to create. And I think we have that. I mean, but we don't have the numbers,
Mm,
because it's
mhm.
just me and my wife.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the actual population of the
We don't have
dogs.
the population. So, you know,
Maybe in
as
the
a
next
dog
5
man,
years.
as a dog man, you say, is John making a bloodline? Well, I think that you could call it a bloodline for sure. Is he making a breed? Well, to a lot of people, they say it's a different breed. And I think it's a different breed because it has a different genetic composure. Um, but so hopefully in 5 years, we'd have a very consistent look across the board where you could even bring out, an F1B, an F3, and an F2, and it'd be hard for someone to tell which one's which, you
Mhm.
know? Um, that would be great. That would be fantastic. I mean, like I said before, I don't know if it'll ever be called a breed by everybody. When we first made this, we had to be, everyone was calling the American Bully a concept, including myself. I'm not going to say I wasn't, but, you know, if the American Bully would have been honest from the beginning, they wouldn't have the problems they have right now.
I agree.
If they had no reason to lie.
Mhm.
They had their own registry. They could say whatever the hell they wanted to say. They could do whatever they wanted to do. They chose that path, and I think as far as long term, that's the stupidest thing they could have done.
Yeah, it's that thing that I always like to tell people that they got the money on the front end and they're not worrying about longevity and the customer base in the back end and you know I think it's just eventually it's just going to come to a head. They either going to have to change or it's going to go away to the point where it just becomes a really small niche.
It's gonna plateau.
Yeah.
Um, Whereas I don't think the French bulldog, even with all the crap that goes on in the
Mhm.
French bulldog world,
Mhm.
I think it's still gonna stick around because there's still people that breed what I call French bulldogs, where
Mhm.
they still have the bulldog look to them.
Mhm.
Whereas some of these mixes that they got going out, they don't have that bulldog look to them anymore.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think as where the color breeders were starting to do better, I think they fell off because they went too deep, and now I think the standard colors are gonna come back, and then
Yep.
you're gonna get a good mix of where conscientious color breeders are gonna go back to the standard colors, and there's gonna be like you're gonna get a good mix of genetics. Like I think the future is bright, but it's just gonna take the right people and weeding out the negatives. But there's just too many good people involved in the French bulldog world, like you said, compared
Well, there's
that.
still a lot of people with money involved in it.
Yeah, there's
Um,
still people, yeah, with
you,
that.
you know, there's people involved in the French bulldog, just like the English bulldog,
Yeah,
that aren't gonna want to see that bull crap happen.
yeah.
Um,
They're purists.
that are purists, like we've said.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, at least I've seen that with talking to a lot of English bulldog people. A lot of them, they've been more open to mixing than you would think, but some of them are definitely against it. Even when you're telling them, "Hey, I'll pay your stud fee. What do you want?"
Yeah, I've I've talked to a few and they would do it and it would have to be really super top secret, but and then part of me is like, I just don't wanna, like, get involved with people that are so tied up into a breed club where they would get kicked out of if they got caught. I wouldn't wanna be like that on my conscious.
Like, I am so fine just selling pets. I don't give a shit if these dogs go to a show ring. None of that matters. Or follow a trend. The trend is what I'm doing to me. to me, anyways. You know, I don't care if it's trendy, quote unquote, to the public, because there's always going to be people who want good dogs. Um, no matter, no, they don't. Let me tell you, from selling dogs that are mixes, they don't give a shit. They don't care. If you can show them generations of dogs and you can
Mm.
show them, hey, I've been at this a long time. These are healthy dogs. We still have great grandmas sitting here that are alive. A lot of people don't give a damn then about the mixing. They're like, oh, cool. That's cool. I like that.
It looks like a bulldog to
Look,
me, you know.
yeah, it looks like a bulldog to me. So to them, it's a bulldog. I've had people, and you can put this in, I don't care.
Mhm.
Um, I've had people come to me that want to make their own breed ever since
Mhm.
I started.
Mhm.
And the farther I go along, the more people that ask me. And I tell them, if you want to do this, be ready for it to be your whole life.
Yeah.
Be ready for this to be your life. This is what your life can contains, because this is an all or nothing type of thing. You can't do this half ass.
Mm.
If you do it half-ass, everyone's gonna know,
Yeah.
because you're gonna only be passing out bullshit dogs.
Mhm.
Um, and I don't want to be known for that. I don't want to put my name on bull crap. I want people to, when they get my dogs, they're like, "Man, this dog is something special." I want them to,
Best dog of my life.
best dog I ever had. Like, I can't even tell you how many people I've sold to that's what they'll tell you. This is the best dog I've ever had. And I
So,
mean, my life is bulldog. So, like,
yeah.
I have the St. John's, I work it, but I
Mhm.
also work my PBs. I get out there, I spring
Yeah.
pull them, flirt
Yeah.
pull them,
Mhm.
all that good stuff. Um, and the PBs are athletic as hell. They need to work.
They got that.
They they just want to hit the spring pole for as long as they damn can.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, you gotta
you got to get
make
them
them
to
walk
you got to get them to walk away. It's a pain in the butt. I'm gonna only breed to top notch dogs. I'm not gonna breed to half ass dogs. I'm gonna breed to good dogs, and that dog has all her life planned already. I already know what I'm gonna breed her to. Um, so I plan years ahead of time. I
Yeah.
don't plan for just now. I plan for, like, okay, if this is an outcross, then how can we bring it back in and line breed it?
if I'm gonna keep this dog, what am I
If I'm going to keep this dog, why am I keeping this dog? Because you don't need a million studs.
Mm.
You need a million good bitches.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think, and that's the truth. And it's not easy to make bulldoggy ass bitches. Um, even in an established breed, you see so many oldies that are not oldie.
the type?
They ain't bulldog. The type's all off.
Well, I remember even in the 80s and 90s with going to see different English bulldog programs, um, and seeing the females. That was always my thing, was like, if because we had mainly we I had 2 males prior to the one that I had now, and then the others were females. So, we were always more geared towards the female dogs, and for me, even somebody who didn't know shit about dogs back in the day, other than, you know, what I was looking at, what I wanted was, I wanted that female with the big impressive head, right? Because the
Who
bulldogs is
doesn't?
always, yeah. And I just remember how many females were always lacking that. That's always been the case with bulldogs, was that was the first thing to go with females, was the headpiece.
And the English bulldogs I'm gonna have are gonna be epic.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I'll show you when we get off this. But yeah, they're gonna be outstanding.
See, that's that if you could start, yeah. And that's so cool is that you guys are, you got two different, three different strains that you're working with now that you're building so you can have that to continue to work into your St. John's. That's crazy. That's just the way you got to do it.
You got to do it that way, and you got to have some. I mean, you have to have a market.
Yeah.
You know, that's one thing I learned is for these dogs, you have to have a market. If you don't have a market, you're dead in the water.
Mm.
Um, and I think that I like the bulldog market more than I like the bully market. Um, the bully market is a different person than the bulldog market is. The customers, anyway. I think a lot of breeders do that. I think that happens in so many breeds,
Hmm.
and I think it's because they they get too hung up on like, oh, my name needs to be everywhere on this pedigree. Um, no, you need to bring in what you need when you need it, and then you need to have you need to have what you need when when you need it. That's the point of a program, and you have options. And without options, you are not going to get very far. You're only going to get so far. I don't care how good your marketing is. I don't care if you only got enough room for 5 dogs. You can't compete with me.
I can't remember what show, what podcast I was watching, but they were talking about pairings and how that sometimes how hard it is and how lacking people are in that being able to pair the right dogs. But it seems to be like that is a science in itself. And then who cares if you are the one that aren't the one that with your name on it because you are the one making decision with that pairing. And if it wasn't for you making that decision with that proper pairing, those puppies wouldn't be born. So you are kind of the creator in a sense.
Of course, you're the creator. If who
Yeah.
else is? Who else would be? It's
Yeah.
you just look at my Pacific Bulldogs.
Uh.
I took Ello. I took an Ello son to an Ello daughter. They're
Mhm.
both the ending of what Adam did in the Pacific Bulldog. I took one off of each litter,
Mhm.
right? And his two last breedings, and I bred them together, and I got superior Pacific Bulldogs. That
Yeah.
bulldog that I had, I've bred him, but like I said, the girl aborted her litter. But he had great semen. He breathed amazing after being bred. And if someone was to tell me that's not a boss status dog, I'd say, who the fuck raised those dogs then?
Yeah.
Um, you know, you can it's just like this. I'm getting into Englishes just for fun and because I like bulldogs, but I'm still gonna buy an English from somebody and I'm still gonna have to use someone's stud. And
Yeah.
that's okay. I still am the one deciding what gets bred to what. It's
Yeah.
still my production.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you because you're making decisions based on your experiences and your knowledge and your eye, and when it fails, it's your fault. When it succeeds, it's your success. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, and I mean, you have to you're gonna fail.
yeah,
It's gonna happen. You're gonna have a litter that doesn't hit the mark.
yeah,
It might be all right, or maybe the pedigree seems so perfect. You thought that pedigree is just gonna match up so great, and it
mm-hmm,
matched up like shit.
mm-hmm,
And that's gonna fucking happen, man.
yeah,
And if you don't think that's gonna happen, you haven't bred enough dogs.
I agree.
Um, and all these people who say like, "Oh, I never have any problems." Well, you only do 1 litter a year.
Yeah.
How would you know if you would have problems?
Yeah.
You don't have the statistics, the numbers to figure
Yeah.
out the statistics. So, like I've said, you got to put paint to the canvas, you got to do the work, and you can't expect to build a team and they're all going to do the work and you're just going to sit back and collect money. That ain't how it works. All right. I appreciate it, boss man.
All right. Take care,
Thank you.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.